What's up everyone and welcome back to another reaction video. This video was suggested by Half-Bred Chaos himself. Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I usually don't get any responses, so I'm kinda, well, any responses to videos, well, any responses from the creators of the videos I reacted to. So this is actually pretty cool, actually. He actually recommended, or he, they, I don't know. I'm not gonna assume Jen. I didn't. He usually used like a robotic voice thing, so synthesizer. I don't know the correct term, but Outbreak Chaos suggested that I react to what is Element 6 and why is Spamton cat? Though he did recommend that, said that stuff about his videos, and don't worry about it. If you checked out my first videos, they were horrendous. Seriously though, for me, the whole video thing at the beginning for me was awkward. Even more than some of the videos I do now. They were awkward, uh, very long, and I had water markings, and sometimes the video editing was questionable. Like, no joke, it was actually questionable at times. So, don't worry. I highly doubt you can be worse than me. Because I feel like mine were really bad at the beginning. But then again, anyone can say that because we just started off at the beginning. All we can do is improve from here and there. So, no worries about the beginning. It's completely understandable if you feel uncomfortable about it. I feel uncomfortable about my own beginning, so yeah. So Element 6, that was one of the questionable ones. It was suggested in the previous one that it was related to Gaster. Now, I wouldn't say no because of Gaster's fun value in Undertale when being shown up is 6 or 66. It was something that involves 6. I don't remember on the top of my head. I probably should have looked into that. But yeah. I'm also kind of curious why Spamton's cat. I just assumed that he was just a puppet that looked like a cat, so it qualified for cat. Which I still think after seeing that video. But yeah. So let's get on with the usual. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button down below. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button to support the channel, support the content provided, and all that other good stuff. Hit the notification button to be notified immediately when a new video comes out. Leave your comments on what you want me to react to next. I'll react to as soon as possible and all that stuff. As well as if you have any opinions or thoughts about what I say, what's going on in the video, then feel free to comment on that. In the description down below, the link to this video will be down there. Also, be sure to give some love and support to Half-Bred Chaos. I think it's Breed, now that I think about it. Oh my gosh, I said the name wrong. I am so sorry. Well, Half-Breed Chaos. Just give some love and support to him. Check out his videos, check out his channel, and all that. Show some love and support for him as well. with all this said, hope you all enjoy, and let's get on with the video.
Spoiler warning for Chapter 2's ending and secret boss. If you haven't found or played them yet, do that first. Hello Internet. Last time we discussed how every enemy in the game is assigned an element, typically available in the recruit area, which allegedly determines their attack type. We also covered that damage from these attacks can be reduced by certain armor. Though Spamton cannot be recruited, the armor which defends against his attacks also reduces damage done by Task and Task Manager. We are able to recruit those two, and see that their elements overlap at Cat, and in the code all three are using element 6 as the element for their bullets. Therefore element 6, Spamton's element, must be Cat. But why? Why is it Cat? He doesn't act like a cat. I mean aside from sleeping in a dumpster, but you get what I mean right. He never meows, he doesn't eat cat food, or talk about milk, nothing. Although on further examination, there is another cat that stands around in the dump, selling you weird garbage, namely Catty. But I mean, Bratty sells you garbage too and she's clearly in the order Crocodilia, so she's not a cat. YouTube commenter Chester Jackson also noticed that Bratty's father calls Asriel a big shot at the end of Chapter 1, which is pretty interesting. But I'm not sure that that's significant. After all, Pizza Pants says he misses cruising around town with Asriel as well, and wait, is he a cat? Wait, can't go to hell, I'm out of vacation days. Take a vacation straight to hell, what? Okay, no, hang on, as Gore mentions riding around town with Asriel too, and I'm pretty sure he's not a cat. So this is probably just a coincidence. Actually, this is probably a good time for a reminder. Before we dive recklessly into this mystery, please remember to be on your guard. We are theory crafting Deltarune in a time when only the first 2 chapters are available, since chapters 3 through 7 aren't out yet. Remember that there is a danger in theorizing before one has all the information, mainly in the temptation to twist facts to suit theories, rather than theories to suit facts. So please, stay light on your feet, because we're going to be considering and discarding a ton of ideas here. Try not to get too attached to any of them, and please don't fight with other people about these. A friendly spar is fine, but try to mind each other's feelings and keep it civil, alright?
Yeah, it makes sense to comment on this always. Theories can get tons of arguments. Might sound repetitive to say, but still. The amount of flame wars between theories and who would win who and all that is very, very common, sadly, and it can be very toxic to those around. It's why I don't try to theorize bigly or come up with ideas to say what's gonna happen next, or just like flat out assume something big's gonna happen, because sometimes I could be wrong. With this case scenario, well, look at it this way. We're basically trying to assume the last 5 chapters, and we only have 2 accessible. So yeah. Well, let's continue, shall we?
Theory 1. Spamton's real-life item contains cat. At first I thought maybe Spamton's real-life equivalent, this bin full of junk mail, had a picture of a cat in it, like an ad for cat food or something.
I mean, it's understandable. Oh wait, element 6
Or
is
maybe
cat.
Catty's older sister threw something in the recycle bin, and some of her cat fur was mixed into the spam, affecting Spamton's code. But that's really stretching, and honestly if that were the case I'd expect to see some hint of it somewhere. Besides, I've been looking into it further, and it seems like only his Neo form uses cat as its element. None of Spamton's attacks when you fight him the first time in this alley are cat. So if there's a physical cat object in the real world, granting him this element, it's not on the recycle bin. Theory 2.
So his Neo form's a cat, not Spamton himself. Okay, that's actually really informative. What makes his Neo form different, though? I mean, besides it being a new body, what's so different about that?
His Neo body is cat. Since his element is only
Oh, he went into that already. So his Neo body's cat. I mean, the hands and feet kind of make sense if it's cat. And I think that thing around the chest area does remind me of one or two things. That's like a cat monster, but I don't remember. They all
present
look
in his
different.
Neo form, perhaps Spamton's Neo body is cat-related. So this begs the question, what exactly is he possessing? The game refers to this as an old rundown machine. Sham seems to think this is where Spamton found the Shadow Crystal, and he says that it must have been important to a certain Lightner. If we examine his Neo form, we can see that Spamton's body has a pink palette, including a skirt, white shoes, and a yellow and pink staff-like object which he uses to fire pippies. In later releases of Undertale, we meet Mad Mew Mew, a robot owned by Alphys who also happens to be pink, with a skirt, white shoes, and have a yellow and pink staff. If this were the Mew Mew robot, it would explain why his element becomes cat. In addition, should you fight Mad Mew Mew in a pacifist run, you can find them later saying,
"You thought you could stop me from using this body? Ha! I may be in pieces, but I still gotta be myself. Your days are numbered, Mew."
Since Mad Mew Mew never actually fights you after threatening you like this, Spamton Neo being Spamton Mew Mew would give closure to the Switch run of Undertale. This wouldn't be the first reference to Deltarune added by a later version of Undertale, and since Mad Dummy does exist in this version of the game, and is seen pretty angry and unfulfilled, it would make sense.
That's an interesting thing to be noted about. So Spamton's body was made off the idea of Mew Mew from the anime that Alphys watch. I mean, I guess I can see that. I mean, if you look at all the other characters, you can see some similarities between them and an Undertale character. In some way, shape, or form. Even by name. Like Neo Spamton, Neo Metaton. Heck, Metaton transforms into a newer form slash body like state. Somewhat similar to Spamton. I guess King Chaos could be the equivalent of King Asgore in some way, shape, or form, considering that instead of having hope, he lost hope. So, yeah, there are similarities between characters in some way, shape, or form. That's more something else, I guess. Because even though I said before at one point during my Deltarune Chapter 2 that the Queen is Toriel's stand-in. It was actually mentioned by Reaper Reaper that the Queen was modeled after, in some way, shape, or form, Noelle's mother. So yeah, there's that. But Still, there can be some similarities, I hope. Yeah, let's continue.
It also explains why Spamton is transferred into the animatronic limited edition Mew Mew machine using a disc, and why Mad Dummy's dreams were ruined by being unable to obtain one. It's limited edition after all. On the other hand, when we talk to Swatch about this, he says that
robot was the embodiment of a Lightner's dream. A dream I helped create, once. Splashing color from the motion of their hand. The Lightner filled it with their own hope, giving it an incredible power, but in the end, nothing ever came of it. And it was left in the basement with the rest of the corrupted data.
This seems to imply that the robot wasn't a physical object but a piece of data, like an image file or something. Swatch themselves seems to be a reference to a color-changing tool in a program like Paint or Photoshop, so it seems unlikely this is the physical Mew Mew doll hiding in, like, the closet or something. Besides, if this were the Mew Mew doll, I'd expect it to use the Mew Mew motif in the Big Shot theme, or at least have a tail or cat ears. The currently prevailing theory regarding this thing is that it was a design idea, sketched out by Mediton. It would explain the wings, the darker pink-purple color, and the Mediton-style yellow soul and shootable bullets. Although Alphys did have bullets like that as well in Undertale, it seems unlikely that she would have spent a bunch of time editing an image of Mew Mew on the library computer. Although not impossible since she does have a teacher's salary. Theory 3. Spamton is a glitchy guy.
I mean, that doesn't seem wrong. If anything, that sounds more likely to be true than anything else. That and slightly being insane, but still, it counts where it counts.
Spamton himself identifies as a Pipis person. Pipis is a misspelling of Pipis, the word Toby uses to describe glitches and errors, especially in his code. Spamton already showcases this concept in his glitchy sprites and when he speaks. In particular, his sentences seem to lag or jump. Sometimes entire words are missing from sentences, leaving big spaces where they should be, and some of his words are in brackets or appear to be redacted entirely. All the armor that guards against Cat has glitchiness about it too. The frayed bowtie displays a completely different name when it's in the shop, and it doesn't list any kind of elemental defense at all when checked, even though it
Really? So it's a non-elemental weapon defense? Strange. It is Spamton, so
definitely does reduce damage from element 6. The dummy isn't even meant to be armor and only Chris can equip it, almost like it's a glitch. The deal maker, Spamton's glasses, are constantly changing color and flickering like TV static when he wears them. So Spamton, a glitch guy, might be cat type in the same way that Missingno, a glitch Pokemon, is bird type. For those who don't know, Missingno is a very famous series of easy-to-encounter glitch Pokemon.
Oh yeah, that one. You can only get in Generation 1 of Pokemon. I think Pokemon Yellow. It's a weird series of events where you have to do some certain tasks. You could get this weird glitching Pokemon. It makes no sense why that would be the case. But it is a true thing. And tons of people have caught it if they tried these events in Generation 1. Though I don't think I would ever try it because I don't know, that Pokemon just gives me the creeps.
Pokemon from Generation 1 of Pokemon. The most common one, found in Cinnabar, had broken graphics, absurd stats, and for some reason it was listed as bird type. Even though bird wasn't even a type in those games, although flying was. Missingno was also famous for corrupting the data of items, amongst other things, which might explain why the items you get from Spamton are so glitchy and offer resistance to this element. Perhaps his being in contact with them corrupted them. Although this theory doesn't fully explain the dummy, Maybe it was one of his
Probably. I mean, if his code is glitchy and he's a glitchy character, it would be safe to assume that the glitch, like, stats and all that would be coming from him to an extent. And why some items might be able to protect you from him, especially if, when he's in Neo form, he's Cat. So, yeah, I can see it.
contact with them corrupted them. Although this theory doesn't fully explain the dummy, maybe it was one of his possessions that was taken when he was evicted? Either way, he does have some special interactions with it, if you bring him in the form of the loaded disk. Theory doesn't fully explain the dummy. Maybe it was one of his possessions that was taken when he was evicted? Either way, he does have some special interactions with it, if you bring him in the form of the loaded disk. Theory 4. Element 6 is more than just Cat. Maybe I'm going about this backwards. Instead of understanding why Spamton is this element, maybe we need to take a harder look at the elements themselves, and element 6 in particular. Okay, what do we know about the elements so far? While enemies list their elements in the recruit screen, right now most of them don't implement those elements in any meaningful way. The only attacks that have an element as of time of recording are actually those that use element 6, Spamton, Task, and Task Manager. It might be that Toby hasn't finished implementing it yet, or perhaps he's easing into it now and plans for it to become more widespread in the next chapters. That said, there are several pieces of armor that code for some of the elements, and using those, we can learn a little bit more about the other elements. Element 7 is Mouse. The monsters which listed are Mouse, Mouse Whale, and Jigsaw. Although their attacks don't yet code for elemental damage, there's a piece of armor which codes to defend against it, and that's Mouse Token, which offers 50% reduction against the mouse type. However, it doesn't seem to list this in the check data. Actually, the check data looks glitchy too, so I'm not surprised it hasn't been implemented yet. Element 0 is coded for a few times. In particular, it seems to be the default element, as bullets in the overworld call the set element as 0 function. Element 1 is odd. It's found in the Sky Mantle, and it's supposed to deflect 50% of all electric and holy damage. Wait, two things? That's pretty weird. I can see it in the code though. It sets armor element to 1 and sets damage reduction by 0.5 or 50%. For a moment I thought this was just translation weirdness. Perhaps this is like in Chrono Trigger? In Chrono Trigger, Chrono's element is listed in Japanese as 10, which is a word that describes both heaven and the sky. As a result, his attacks vary from lightning to life spell, complete with a little angel, to a wind-like slash attack. Because we don't have that word in.
This whole elemental thing is very interesting. It's a strange one, but yeah, at the same time, it's very interesting nonetheless.
In English, it got localized to lightning, and then later to light, so I figured maybe the Sky Mantle was doing the same here, and its element was just 10. Nope, that's not the symbol for 10. Those are the symbols for Den, Electric, and Psi, Holy. Weird. I haven't seen Holy yet, but Electric comes up a few times. In particular, it's listed for Ambulance, Task, Wear Wire, Mouse, and Wear Wire. If later there's a holy enemy that does holy damage, and then, when the elements are more thoroughly implemented, they do both indeed share the element 1, as stated by the Sky Mantle data, then that would make Electric and Holy a sort of yin and yang, two halves of the same whole that make up element 1. And if that's true, then perhaps Cat will have another element it overlaps with as well. YouTube commentator Crimson Destroyer pointed out that Task's Cat elemental attacks seem to be the ball of yarn, and Task Manager's is the whip. Balls of yarn are made of string, and whips are basically long weaponized strings.
Yes, I could see this resemblance and how some of this could work in together for certain enemies. But I wonder what Cat is for Spamton, because none of his reminds me of a whip or a string. let's see. Let me try to remember all of Spamton's attacks. Yeah, I don't recall a single attack reminding me, at least in some similarities to any other creature that has cat with it.
So maybe the secondary element will be string. This seems to line up.
Oh.
But double checking the code and gameplay, it would appear the quiz box also does cat damage, as do the sonic attacks. And besides,
Wait, sonic attack. Oh! Wait, Spamton does have a sonic attack. With the spider attack. Yeah, when he's trying, when it's firing, when that spider thing was firing sonics while it got closer to you from the other side of the battle box. It used sonic attacks. So I guess Spamton does have similarities to some cat attacks, which does confirm he's cat. Huh. I thought it was more of his appearance, but... Oh wait, there we go. See? That right there? Kinda reminds me of his Neoform's chest area. So I can see it being similar to cat even more. The hands and feet of this cat right here reminds me of Spamton's Neoform a bit too. Mainly the hands and feet, but yeah.
When Spamton fires at you, don't do element 6 type damage, and aren't those strings. That said, this would go further to explaining the connection between element 6 and these 3 pieces of armor. The frayed bow tie needs more string to be patched back up, the dummy is a puppet, and puppets like marionettes work when the user pulls on their strings, and the deal maker is a pair of glasses, which can be secured in place using strings. Removing the strings from the element makes the armor feel like more of a stretch. I could say a frayed bow tie is a good toy for a cat, and the dummy a good scratch post, but the deal maker, I got nothing. If we imagine cats have some sort of elemental yin and yang with something like puppet or string, it kind of makes me wonder about the wider implications of that element. Aside from Shom, a cat doll literally stitched together, I've noticed the 2 cat enemies are living in the mansion with the queen, sort of like the upper class, but they're doing so as servants to her. This might mean that thematically speaking, element 6 refers to both your class status and the dichotomy between freedom and servitude. Cats do, after all, act like royalty even when they're strays. And that actually would pan with Spamton, acting like he's a big shot before he actually becomes one. The cat-related characters in the overworld also seem to have a lot of connections to the concepts of community, family, and close relationships. For example, Catty, who tries to disconnect from others in school, finds her family following her and cheering her on at work, which is sort of an inverse reflect of Spamton, who feels abandoned and alone at the bottom of a dumpster. The number 6 might be a Homestuck reference as well, since in that, 2 3s are used to represent cats, and adding 2 3s together gives you 6. In Undertale, 6 is used quite a bit as well, mainly for... Oh. Oh no. 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 New order. Resigns I. Theory 6. It's Gaster. Okay, so...
Well, considering the fact that Gaster seems to be behind the scenes a lot in Deltarune, it still wouldn't surprise me if he's messing with Spamton's, let's say, elemental core or anything like that. I don't know the proper term. But it wouldn't surprise me if Gaster was still involved with this. Because it's Gaster. He does things for reasons that even we, as the people who play these games, don't understand.
I know the internet's sick of Gaster and Gaster theories, but look, you don't understand. Gaster uses the number 6 so much, you guys. It's in the fun value to summon his followers. In the value for the sound check room. It's in the value to summon this door. There's a 6 in the room number for these wingding text things. And all of Gaster's stats, including his enemy ID, his attack, defense, EXP, gold, everything. Just so many 6s.
Dang.
Alright, for the uninitiated, Gaster is a scientist who is only mentioned when certain conditions are met in Undertale. There's a secret number in your game's save file, called the fun value, that changes randomly, and certain numbers, usually containing 6s, will summon NPCs or events that refer to him. But they don't appear every time. Instead, whenever you enter the room, there's a percentile chance they'll occur, and if they don't, you have to leave the room and come back in. Oh my god, it's a Schrodinger's cat. Even with the right value, you don't know if you're going to get the event to occur until you open the box, so to speak. The only way to reset the chance is to leave the room, to stop observing it as usual, and open it again. There's also the orange cat poster that Chris remembers seeing in the library, and they wonder where it went, and what would have happened if it had showed up in the dark world. And then, Alphys also has a bit of a Schrodinger's cat in Mew Mew. Which is to say, she thinks there might be a cat living in this alley, but hasn't seen it, so she can't know for sure. Yeah, I know it's just Susie drinking the milk, but it is another reference to a Schrodinger's cat. Why do these keep happening? The man who gives you the egg also has a weird sort of Gaster/Schrodinger's cat vibe, in that he only exists until you've seen him give you an egg. And if you
I
examine his
see.
car, he only shows up if you have the egg. Whereas the egg is the only item that exists in the same state regardless of which world you're in, and it can apparently reappear after being dropped. Geez, all these items, events, and characters appearing and disappearing without a trace. This one even smiling as it fades away like a Cheshire cat. Oh no, you guys, you know what else is like a Cheshire cat? This creepy smiling sprite that appears.
No, I don't think that's related to Gaster himself. Well, not into, like, he is Gaster. That is obviously Mike, but I think that's the guy that made Spamton insane to a degree. And Gaster just, like, finishing it off. So,
In the dungeon when you do
yeah.
Spamton side quest, though most people miss it because it's in the lower left-hand side of the screen for only a few frames, and it's right before the teacups too. Oh no, I'm starting to.
I don't think I seen that. Maybe I did. I probably have to review my own video, because it's a bit tired when I edited the video for that part. So what makes sense?
Suspect this was intentional. Okay, alright. So against my better judgment, I have to conclude that there's a very strong chance that element number 6 is at least somewhat related to Gaster, mainly in the form of whimsical, disappearing Cheshire cats with eerie knowledge of the inner workings of their world, and Schrodinger's cat, which relates to uncertainty in quantum physics. No, you stay out of this, Sans. Does Gaster connect back to Spamton? He seems to.
He definitely seems to. Now, if there's a second element to number 6, it would make sense that it would be somewhat related to Gaster, at least the second half of it. But then again, that's still assuming. But I still would believe if that was the case, that Gaster would be involved in the elemental system. And 6 has a good reason to be it. But besides 6, like the last video, I'm a bit worried about number 9. Because number 9 is related to Kara, Chara, doesn't matter which one you prefer. However you say her name. Well, to me, I count Chara, Kara as a girl, but that's just me just assuming 5 seconds after seeing the character sprite, but yeah. Number 9 seems something big to me. It just makes me a bit worried because Kara does 99999 damage, and a lot of other stuff related to her is 9, and that's a horrifying thing to deal with. But yeah, there's that.
The Addisons mentioned that Spamton started getting help from a friend over the phone, and one of them said that when he tried to listen in, all he heard was a weird static, which seems to be from Gaster's 17th entry in the True Lab. His health also stops at 6% when you fight him alone. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. You have to understand, the more I look into this and think about it, the more complicated this gets. And like, no one is forcing me to go down here, but just the knowledge that there is more to find has me hostage. It's like when Sans says because you can, you have to. Like, I kind of see now why Spamton and Jevil went crazy. Like, I tried to go out for pizza the other day, and when my friend asked what I'd been working on, I ended up drawing like this weird conspiracy chart thing on the back of the placemats in crayon, and here I am weeks later. And every time I try to finish this video, I find another weird unexplainable thing like this cat in the sprites folder. Why is this here? Why is it on fire? I don't remember setting this cat on fire. No one else seems to remember setting this cat on fire. Why is no one talking about it? Did I miss some kind of weird fun event where one of these cats bursts into hellish flames and charges at me? I said earlier the Gaster tends to have a motif around the number 6, especially 666 for his unused battle stats. If 666 is a demonic number, which is to say, opposed to heaven and angels, then does this tie him back to Caddy, who studies the occult? Does this place him at odds with, like, Father Alvin, Noel, and Toriel? This is like a weird chicken and egg paradox. Like, I started at how is Spamton related to cats, and now I'm wondering why cats are related to Gaster. At this point it almost feels weird that Task and Task Manager are using Element 6, right? Like, I don't understand. What does Task Manager have to do with Gaster? I mean, besides shutting down my game, I guess. This rabbit hole just keeps going down like an endless tunnel. Darker yet darker. If Gaster is related to darkness and shadows, this gets extra perplexing. I bet you anything the Shadow Mantle is going to turn out to be the Sky Mantle, which means somehow somewhere along the way we're going to change it from whatever element Shadow is to element 1, and that just raises more questions. Like, we have the Shadow Crystal, becoming the Pure Crystal. For those unaware, this is another unused item, which is apparently going to be used with the Thorn Ring to craft the Twisted Sword. And I noticed the description says it was purified by the cat. But like, that's weird, right? Shouldn't it say purified by Shom? Unless this is a different cat. Let's check the Japanese.
とある猫の力で闇の要素が浄化されている。
Shadow purified by a certain cat's power. Yet. Okay. That clarified nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree. That almost did nothing. All that basically just said was, okay, this guy just purifies it, and he looks like a cat. Which, basically the same thing. That is very cryptic and very disappointing information. Guess he's something special, I guess? Who knows? Could be revealed in future chapters of Deltarune, but again, I have to wait for the upcoming ones to come out to get at least some answers. So let's
I'm
continue.
going to have to call it quits while I still have some of my sanity left. What do you guys think? What is element 6? Is it really just the element for Meow Cats? Is it the element of darkness, strings, uncertainty? Maybe it has duality with chaos and us, Jevil? Heck if I know. Did you catch something I missed? Let me know down in the comments.
Don't forget to
Like and subscribe for more.
hyperlink blocked. Hiya.
Cool.
Great enemy. Subscribe now.
The flaming cat. Wait, is that thing? Well, this was an interesting thing to say. Leaves a bit of questions, and that's just mainly what's Gaster's involvement? What's his deal? Though, if I have to assume something, I believe that these elements have multiple things they can cover, with 3 probably being their max. And that some of them only has a selective few filled out. So say like one item has 1 or 2 element stuff, and another has 1. So it's something to assume that is the case. That's why I think element 6 is definitely capped, but I think it has something else that it's a word or a phrase or something that covers multiple things at once. The thing is, I don't know what that word could possibly be. There's just so many words in the world that it's kind of hard to conclude what's the proper word, what's the right word to it, and so on and so forth. Kind of annoying, in all honesty. But yeah, I think that's the case scenario about this whole thing. So yeah. Other than that, this has been really informative. And I get some ideas of how Spamton's cat. Well, I understand better why Spamton's cat, especially in his Neo form, since his Neo form is literally the form of his that's related to cat, since his puppet-like form isn't. Yeah. Uh, so, yeah. And if you're seeing this half-free chaos, this wasn't a bad video. Don't worry about it if you're seeing this. It's not bad. It's not a bad video. Of course, when I looked through for the recording, there was a bit of an echo, at least to me. Though I think that's me. That's my recording system acting up. So sorry about that one. So yeah, say this was a good video to watch. Now I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, as I said in the beginning, to support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. Hit the notification button to be notified immediately when a new video comes out. In the comment section below, leave any of your recommendations to any reaction videos that you want me to do, what you want me to react to, so on and so forth. I'll react to it as soon as possible. But with this said, I hope you all enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. And be sure to give some love and support to Half-Free Chaos for making this video as well. Show him some love and support as well. And now, I guess it is time for goodbye, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.